Okay, so today is all about getting everything ready to assemble. The first thing that I'm going to do is grind the sword to its final shape. I'm going to grind in the fullers. I'm going to make sure that everything is nicely balanced, everything is shaped appropriately, it's been hardened, it's been tempered, and now I'm going to do the finish grinding on the sword. Then I'm going to turn my attention to the guard. Once I get the guard kind of roughly shaped out, I'll start working on the handle and then matching all of those pieces together. I fully expect this to take a couple of days, so we're going to get started on that today, and we're just going to see how it goes. So let's have some fun. What I'm doing right now is marking out some of the things that I want on the sword and just double checking my parameters. I wanted the blade to be roughly 1.5 inches, and I'm at 1 5/8 inches, so that's good. 1.5 inches minimum. I wanted it to be between 30 and 32 inches long, and I am exactly 32 inches. And I want to put a fuller in it somewhere in the realm of around 23 inches. So I'm not going to start that all the way at the back. I may end up running it all the way to the back, but I'm going to mark some of this stuff on here now so that I know where to grind to when I get to the grinding room. So that gives me the rough layout that I want to grind to. One of the most useful tools you can have in the shop is a silver Sharpie. And yes, it was one of my tools on Forge It in Fire. You're allowed to bring a few. This was one of the ones that I chose, and it was awesome. If you were a fan of the New Yankee Workshop growing up like I was, then you remember Norm Abrams constantly telling us to remember that the most important thing to do was to wear these shop safety glasses. So if you are going to be making knives, there are things that are going to be flying at your eyes, and you want to protect your eyes. I'm going to be doing some grinding, so I'm going to be wearing eye protection. I'm going to be wearing ear protection. I'm also going to be wearing lung protection. And I'm even going to be wearing a hat to keep sparks from flying down over the tops of my glasses. So you can never take too many precautions and be too safe. You only get one life, one body, and so take care of it and be safe in your shop. Okay, so I've got my fullers in. They're up to a nice high grit finish. And now I'm going to start grinding in the bevels. And you may wonder, why did I grind the fullers into such a high degree of polish? Well, for one, it's easier to do right now, and I can always go back and clean them up a little bit by hand if I need to. But it's also going to give me some guidelines to know exactly where to grind my bevels, because I'm going to do my bevels freehand. You could set this up with a jig, lots of different ways that you could do this, but I'm going to do it freehand because it's a little bit easier and it's going to be a little bit quicker as well. So we're going to start with a 36 grit belt and work our way up from there. Okay, so the sword is rough shaped at a 36 grit. I use 36 grit because it's really aggressive. You can move a lot of material with it. Now I'm going to start going progressively up and up and up in grits so that I can get rid of all those 36 grit scratches and get the sword to the final shape and dimensions that I want. The 36 grit belt shapes it well, but it leaves a rough finish. So now we're going to get it to where we need to be. So you take it almost all the way, and then you kiss it with a few other belts to take down the rest. So that's where we're at. Here we go. So I'm going to stop saying okay so pretty soon. Maybe not. Now I'm going to stick the sword into some ferric chloride, and we're going to etch this Damascus, get a nice deep etch on it so that we can make sure everything is exactly the way that we want it. Then I'll start working on the guard. Okay, I keep saying that. So wow. Okay, so. Ooh, oh, queso. That was a cheesy joke. So I've got the guard roughed out. However, it's still heavy, weighs about 2 pounds. I need to lose about half of this weight. So I'm going to mark it out. I'm going to drill a bunch of holes in it. Then I'm going to do some more grinding and profiling and so on and so forth. And I want to try to get the design on this a little better than I did the last one. So I'm going to cheat just a little bit. I want to take a picture of this, and I'm going to do some design on my computer. And then I've got a little laser that I'm going to use just to draw the design on it. And then I'll go back by hand and use those lines as a guide for what I'm going to do. Stick with me. Okay, so I had an idea that I was going to try, and it didn't work. So I'm just going to lay this out the old-fashioned way with a pen. Getting close to the end of the day, I need to pull the sword out of the etch. I'll do some drawing on here, and then I'll probably make the guard tomorrow. I'm at the end of day 2. I haven't spent a whole lot of time on it today. I'd say maybe half of the day. Yeah, I'd say half, maybe 2/3 of the day has been spent working on this today. So I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. I should be able to get the sword etched today, or the sword is etched. I need to get it cleaned up a little bit. I should be able to get the guard done tomorrow, no problem. Then just the handle and everything. And I'm quite certain I can get that done in the time I would have left. So I'm on a good schedule to get this done, and I don't want to cut any corners. So today really was just a day for getting the sword itself, the blade, done, and I'll work on making this basket hilt tomorrow. So yeah, lots of fun little interruptions today, all except for having to work on the dishwasher. That was no fun. So anyway, let's take a look at the sword, and I'll show you what we do when we pull it out of the etch. One of the things that I want to be careful about is not getting ferric chloride all over everything. So I'm going to put some rubber gloves on. This will also help keep me from getting fingerprints and smudges and all of that all over here. And you're going to see I've got a nice etch on this blade. Lots of color going on here. And what I need to do now is neutralize some of this acid. I may end up etching this a couple of times, but I'm just going to very gently clean this off. And then I'm going to take it into my house, and I'm going to clean it off with some dish detergent. But I don't know if you can see that or not. This is going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. Right now, I'm going to be cleaning this off with some dish detergent, a little 1200 grit sandpaper, and just a paper towel in my fingers. It's really important that you do this in your kitchen sink. Otherwise, you wouldn't get to make a mess inside. One more thing I'm going to do is just clean this a little bit with some quad alt steel wool. And I'm actually going to spray a little bit of WD-40 on it as I do this. There are other things you could use. I'm really using the WD-40 as a water displacement just to keep water from building up on it while I'm doing this. And I'm just looking to even out the sanding here. Make this beautiful, beautiful pattern as clean as I possibly can. So this is a good place to be at the end of day 2. This is going to be a really beautiful Scottish backsword. My fuller came out nice. The sword is dead straight. It's light. It's pretty. We're down to a very, very fine edge. It's almost sharp already. So this thing's going to take a wicked edge when we get it done. And now I just got to get everything laid out so I can start working on that guard. Make the handle, put it all together. It's nice that there's no pressure to get it done. I can take my time and do it the right way. Oh yeah. That's going to be beautiful. Isn't that cool? Right? I never get tired of this part. Beauty. Alright, so I think I'm going to call it there for today. I've got the guard cut to shape. I've got the sword etched, oiled, almost sharp. Now I need to work on the handle and the guard assembly. I'll do that tomorrow. It's been a fun day. Thanks for hanging out with me.